Guys, I think that sometimes, like in life, there are women who actually do not like other women, are not aligned with other women, but they're gonna run and hide behind feminism and the work that actual feminists and like girls put in to protect one another, to protect themselves when their foolishness blows up in their face, right? So this woman willingly chose to get into a relationship with David Eason. She knew who David Eason was. His mugshots and everything were on the internet. Videos of him allegedly abusing women, children, and animals were on the internet. She saw all this and still decided to not only date him, but move him into her home with her animals and the animals of other people that she was responsible for as a dog walker or whatever it is that she does as a side hustle, right? I personally think that her motive in doing all of this was fame. I think she's a Teen Mom fan. I think she thought that getting with David would get her some level of notoriety, even if he's not a good person, even if it's at the risk of her own life. That's what I thought about her, right? And that's how I feel about her, actually, to this day, despite what it is that she's trying to sell on Twitter. Mind you, she doesn't even need to keep talking about David. And that's what further proves this to me personally. Like, girl, it's over. Move on in private, but you don't want to because you know that talking about David Eason and by proxy Janelle and bringing Janelle into all this stuff brings eyes to your page and puts money in your pocket. This is something that she recently admitted to on TikTok when she was sharing screenshots of text message exchanges between she and David as well, right? So I really think that this is a clout chaser with a bird brain at the end of the day. Again, she did not care that David had a long history of being violent against women, against children, and against animals. She did not care that David was very proudly, publicly racist, homophobic, sexist, and just hateful in general. She does not give an ish. However, now that the leopard ate her face, here she is playing victim on the internet. And, she wasn't 18, 16, 12 years old when she got with this man. She's a grown woman. What is she, like 27 years old or something like that? When she chose to ignore all of this willfully for the sake of chasing clout, right? So she said she wanted to do an Ask Me Anything on Twitter. Again, who does this besides somebody who's looking for attention, right? And that's who this person is. So some of the questions that people asked her on her Twitter page included, do you still communicate with Marissa? To which Kenleigh responded, unfortunately, no. He has everyone in his circle manipulated. Girl, what are you talking about? That is his daughter. She was not your stepdaughter. She was never your stepdaughter. You and him were in a relationship for what, like a year, a little bit over a year. Marissa never lived with you. Why would you still need to be in contact with his daughter? I don't think it's manipulation for his daughter, to not really have an interest in you, somebody that she barely knows and probably has barely seen, because Marissa, barely sees David. So where would your opportunity to build a relationship with Marissa even be? And, on what planet is that even something to expect in this kind of a situation? Chris, another user, then asked her honest question. How was a smart woman like yourself, well, Chris, smart woman where, duped by such a piece of ish? Again, you guys are doing too much to give this woman the benefit of the doubt. First of all, she's not a smart woman, obviously. Second of all, she was not duped. She made the conscious, voluntary decision to date a man that she knew categorically was racist, sexist, homophobic, and violent towards women, children, and animals. She did not care about any of that because she wanted some TikTok fame, some Twitter fame, some whatever out of this situation. To which she responds, his expert level manipulation and me having a big heart. This is not expert level manipulation. I'm sorry. I do not believe for a sole second that David manipulated her. And I'm not believing this big heart thing. If you had a big heart in the first place, you would have never looked twice at a man like David, knowing what you know about him. A person with a big heart is not going to go and date a raging, hateful person like David Eason. A person with a big heart is not going to date somebody who she knows has no contact with his own children and couldn't care less about seeing his own children. A person with a big heart is not going to go and date somebody who has a history of being violent towards women, animal, and children. No, I'm not buying what she's selling. I'm sorry. I know some people are, but I'm just not. It feels as though she's really, truly trying to play the victim here in order to shirk any kind of responsibility for her choice. She was warned several times. She has access to the internet, just like you and I have access to the internet. She knew everything about David Eason and proceeded anyway. She saw the videos. She saw the lawsuits. She knew he had like no contact with pretty much any of his kids, and she did it anyway. Stop it. The next comment or questions were, what are your actual thoughts about him harming animals, especially the one he deleted? Loving animals as much as you do, or as much as you claim you do, right? Obviously, you don't enough if you would bring this person around your home, around your animals. Genuinely curious how you processed that, what he told you about it, and how you were able to even slightly look past that or trust him around your dog. To which Kenleigh responds, I think that dynamic in that household was very chaotic. Some people shouldn't own animals if you can dedicate time to training them or teaching kids how to be around them. I think that played a large role in what happened. But again, I wasn't there. So there she is, excusing David Eason. David Eason had no reason or business shooting Nugget, a 10-pound dog who did nothing to harm his daughter. He could have shut that down. He could have taught his daughter not to get in the dog's face. He could have taught the dog not to nip or whatever, or to bark or whatever in her face. But he had no reason to go and shoot that dog. But here she is excusing it, just like she excused every other terrible thing that she knew David Eason did and stood for. At the end of the day, I don't think she's that different from David in terms of the way that she views the world, or Janelle in terms of, who she is as a person, whether or not she's a trashy person or not, because this is absolutely insane that she is excusing David Eason for shooting that 10-pound dog for quite literally no reason. The excuse here is that house is chaotic. The dog should have been trained. Okay, the dog wasn't trained in a chaotic house. So instead of organizing this house, bringing order to this house, and training the dog, let's shoot it. This is somebody who is paid to board people's animals. That is absolutely insane, Kenleigh. Absolutely insane. Next comment. Did you really lose your job over him? If so, why? What happened with your employer because of him? And did you find another job? To which she responds, yes, I lost my office manager position because the owner didn't want TMZ showing up to work. I found a new job where people know about who I dated and they do not care. I'd rather work for an employer who only cares about my work performance instead of my outside life. Well, listen, when you're dating somebody like David Eason, who is so toxic and so controlling and so jealous and so abusive and such a loser that he has a documented history, which you know about because you're a Teen Mom fangirl, that's why you dated him, that he would show up to his wife's place of employment, threaten all the people working there to the point where they practically had restraining orders. They could not film this woman with him being around anywhere, and he would disrespect that by showing up anyway. Your boss is well within reason to fire you. Maybe the boss knew about David Eason beyond all of this stuff, right? And was a watcher of Teen Mom, or something else, right? And knew what David used to do to terrorize the camera people, the producers and everybody on those Teen Mom sets. Maybe they saw that this is a psycho, an unhinged weirdo who shows up to his partner's work events with knives, slashing balloons close to people to the point where he could be slashing people. Maybe this person knew that David shows up, threatens everybody, right? Despite being told to stay away from his woman's place of employment. Like, there are so many reasons for this, or maybe they don't like what this stands for or what you dating David Eason says about you. Because again, when you choose to date somebody who is very out and proud of being racist, sexist, homophobic, hateful in general, or who does not care and makes no apology for the fact that they shot their family dog and have deleted several family animals, including chicks, a goat, all sorts of things, or who's unapologetic about the fact that he allegedly strangled his ex stepson, a child, it says a lot about you, Kenleigh, and people do not want to associate with people like you who are willing to look past all of that. And they do not want for their businesses to be associated with people like you. Again, she's trying to play the victim, but she is not the victim in that situation. Trish says, what kind of BS did that woman, child, and animal abusing a-hole spew to make you ignore his past and give him a chance? I'm being sincere because I was in a similar situation when I was a bit younger than you. So she says, love bombing and manipulation. He's expert level. Somebody else asked, did you think you could change him? She said, yes. Again, I think she's playing to an audience of people. Sorry, let me get a sip of my water. An audience of very nice girls who want to believe that this is true and this is authentic, but I do not believe a single word of it. She aligned herself with all of David Eason's hateful beliefs and all of his violent actions towards vulnerable people and animals. And that's just what it is, in my personal opinion. I don't think somebody with such a public record is able to manipulate and love bomb you. I'm sorry, I just don't. I think that, people get love bombed and manipulated by bad people, but they don't know that these people are bad people. They don't have this long documented history and whatnot, right? Like there was really nothing worth dating in David Eason. David Eason was squatting on his ex-wife's boat, brushing his teeth in the McDonald's bathroom when she met him. Like, let's be so effing for real. I think she saw it as some sort of an investment in the future. Maybe he'll be back on reality TV. Maybe I could be on reality TV with him. Maybe this could make my social media pop off. Listen, a lot of the people these days, right? Social media has rotted their brains to the point where they're willing to do quite literally anything for clout. How often are you seeing people on social media getting arrested for dumb things they're doing for social media clout? Who's to say that she is above dating somebody for social media clout? I really think that that's what it is. She was willing to look past everything for this and to fast forward this relationship with a total deadbeat who had nothing, quite literally nothing to offer. Ali says, one of my coworkers is messing with a man like that. I will never get it. Hurt. Cats, and spent time in jail for 3 counts of attempted deletion. Like, what is this? Like, and you know that she knows that, yet she ignores that. So to her, it's not a big deal. None of this stuff is a big deal. So what are her values? The values are not much different from this man's values, but she's going to be crying when he turns around and, racks up a 4th count of attempted deletion, with her being the 4th one he attempts, right? Come on now. When he says, for someone afraid and needing an RO against this man, she sure is quick to poke the bear. She keeps on talking about him because at the end of the day, this is about social media fame to her. She is only relevant to the teen mom audience so long as she talks about David Eason. And that has always been the goal. And she's not going to stop based off of that. This kind of reminds me of, do you guys remember the girl who blew the lid off of Kaylin and Elijah's relationship? She was on that cruise with Elijah. Elijah got caught cheating with her or something like that. She had all these videos of him and his I think a relative of his brother or something like that, following her around, and her friend coming into their cruise room and everything, dancing with them. Like, that girl, for a while, she had a lot of engagement on her TikTok because she was constantly talking about Elijah and constantly hinting at Kale and this situation. But as soon as she stopped, the views plummeted. And I think that is something that Kenleigh knows and sees, and she doesn't want to have happen to her. So she is going to drag this out for as long as she can. 2Snap says, my goodness, all those mugshots. This explains why some women are infatuated with serial deleters. Exactly. Some women are infatuated by these types of people, right? Maybe she's one of them. I don't know. Jamie says, wow, for a woman to do that is disrespectful to herself and to put your life in danger. Nah, girl got mental issues. saying. Woody the Cat says they were gym buddies. Oh, what gym was David Easton stepping foot in? Oh my God, I know that place reeked. Ali says, I bet he has more mugshots than years he spent in school, period. You know he does. Let me put up his wall of mugshots again. Like, how does somebody explain all of this away, all the video footage, like all the court documents you could read for yourself, all the convictions, even if like the person has a clean criminal record, just the fact that he is broke and squatting on his ex's boat, brushing his teeth in the McDonald's bathroom, should be enough for you to be like, you know what, this man is not in the right place to be dating. I'm just saying, like a certain like minimum level of standards, right? But when social media fame is on the line, a lot of people are willing to overlook a lot of things. When he says, and she assisted in the gaslighting of Jace and the deleting of the animals, right? And that's something that Janelle did too. Like that era was terrible for Jace. Remember when Janelle made that like Instagram tribute post to David with all those photos of them hugging and kissing, talking about how amazing David is and how this and how that and how he protected them from the family and whatnot. Like, to have that from your mom and then the attacker's new girlfriend later, also contributing to this like image online about you being this terrible person who deserved for this to happen to them as a child and whatnot. Like, come on. That was a really, really bad time. And I'm really hoping that justice is served for Jace eventually, right? And I think she ignored answering some questions about that Jace situation in this Ask Me Anything. We saw the way she responded in regards to David shooting Nugget, the dog, and she excused it. She said, you listen, it's no big deal. That house was chaotic. The dog was undisciplined. Take it out back. Shoot it in front of the kids. Like, that's insane, right? Absolutely insane. I'm saying. And that's the thing, Gwen. Why didn't she believe all of these other testimonies? Other women were already very, very, very open about their experiences with David Eason. The mugshots told the stories. She didn't believe that. Well, I think she did. Again, I think she did. I think she knew that this was a risk and that this was a risk that she was willing to take, because I believe that she wants to be some kind of like massive social media influencer. Shelby says, you always want to believe the best in people and trust what they tell you. But in this case, his life is public and you can fact check and know he's a liar. Exactly. She's got at least 2 brain cells. And if you've got 2 brain cells and you'd have all this information publicly available to you, there is no excuse for getting with this person at all. This is not a case of a dirty John or something like that, where somebody portrays themselves one way, you have no way of knowing or verifying, and it seems real. No, this is her going eyes wide shut into dating this person. And even taking the violence aside, the hateful, disgusting things that David has said about every single group out there, including women, she knew these things and she chose to ignore them. Sorry, come on. I'm having a hard time with this one. I'm not falling for her stuff. Becky says, these are the kinds of reads that make people, oh, thanks, Becky. She had all this info that most people don't have the luxury to have before entering into a relationship. Exactly. He's not a master manipulator. You just thought that your quest for social media fame was worth the risk that came with being with David Eason. Gwen says, not Kenleigh blaming Janelle. LOL. She better get some therapy before she has a baby with the next guy. Listen, please, this lady, I would be scared of her having kids, because imagine she has a kid with somebody and they break up and then they see another person with a similar profile to David Eason, right? Just complete trash, complete danger, all that stuff. And she ignores it again. Brings this man into her house very quickly. Didn't she move David in within a month or something like that? This lady would be a very, very dangerous parent. So please, for the love of God, do not reproduce. Come on. Exactly what did the cat? She lost. She was like a star on Teen Mom 2. Love her or hate her, she made that show. She is the reason that Teen Mom 2 was as successful as it was. And even they were willing to cut her because they could not handle David Eason. David Eason was a massive threat. He made grown men scared, dude. Like, come on, right? It's so much information. It is. It's just, there's no, I didn't know. There's no, like, it was all out there. Videos of him speaking to people this way, videos of him slashing a knife around were out there. All that stuff was out there. Good morning, Ronnie. Nice to see you. Melissa made me laugh so hard. She said, I would not hire David to scoop my litter box. Not me picturing a human with a litter box. I hope you mean for your cat, not for yourself. And yeah, apparently, and yes, David was like, he was always threatening people. He was such a violent person. I'm just saying. Mm-mm-mm. Come on now. Come on. My fiddle for Canal. Exactly. And again, she is sharing this stuff online for engagement. She shared as much just the other day when she was posting those videos on TikTok about her text messages with him and her trying to get him to take his stuff off her property. That she said, oh, well, I'm sharing this for like the money or something like that on the TikTok. Well, there you go. When you live and worship the mighty dollar. These are the situations you find yourself in. Gwen says, so if we leave the pygmies to their foolishness, women could exchange information, choose better, and end the bloodlines of guys like David. I'm telling you, like, how the hell did he get so many women to procreate with him? It's scary. And I wouldn't be surprised if you manage to get another one too down the line. And I agree. Gossip is so damn important. Ooh, I have a delivery. Hang on, you guys. I'll be right back. I have a word from some sponsors.
The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Tired of learning languages in boring, frustrating ways? Try TalkPal. TalkPal is your personal AI language tutor. It teaches you languages in fun, engaging ways. It gives you real-time feedback, assesses your pronunciation, and the learning process is personalized just for you. Join millions of other learners and start your language learning journey today.
Okay, I'm back, y'all. Yes, I told you guys at the top of this episode I was being held hostage by a delivery I was waiting for, and it's finally here. I'm really happy about that. Anyway, y'all, listen, let's get over that Kenleigh story. I'm very much over her and all the milking that she's doing of this situation.